We are back with another top player point of view recorded game. So we are watching El Matador. He is playing Thor and he is playing against Chemo, that's the ISIS player. Now, I wanted to watch a high level Thor game and it looks like El Matador is playing one. I don't really know much about him, but he's currently 7th on the leaderboard. So, I mean, he must be pretty good. And he's against Chemo, which is possibly one of the best Egyptian players to be playing the game currently. And Isis is my favorite god, but I wanted to watch Thor instead. So it looks like he's going for this Dwarven Armory start, but it doesn't look like he's going for full Dwarves. Now, I don't know what the meta build is currently. I just know that full Dwarves has been what I have seen from quite a few players. But maybe mostly Dwarves with just spending your early food on these couple of gatherers is going to be the play. And then instead of building an ox cart, what these Thor players have liked to be doing is shooting your shooting your hunting with your Ulfsark, with your berserk. So it just basically saves that 50 wood, 50 food, and it also saves obviously the building time with one of your dwarves. But at that sacrifice, you also sacrifice being able to scout properly because you have to build your Dwarven armory, you have to build a house, and you have to hit these things in. It basically means that you don't get to see much of the map. But the good thing about that for Retold is Retold has so much food on your starting base anyway that you can advance off of all these gazelles and not really have a problem with it. It just means if you have maps that have lots of herdables on it, or maybe some early relics that you want to see, or if you just want to see what your opponent's doing, then that's obviously the negative side. But it's whether or not you value pushing these things in, which obviously a lot of these top players do. And also when you get to the top, you can kind of guess what other people are doing anyway. But it is always obviously good to scout. So it looks like he's gone for the 6 on gold, 2 early gatherers out for the wood, and then all the next few to food. Now, what is his resources looking like? So I've got him on the right hand side because he is down the bottom, and it looks like he's about to get his temple up here because he will have 150 gold, but then maybe he might need to wait a second if he's going to get another dwarf. I really do want to try this Thor build order out to see how it works. So he's also got 2 armory upgrades here. So I think so he had 4 coming from the town center and then 2 from the armory upgrades. And then if he wants to, he can hit these goats and then he can get enough for this Hersa upgrade. I can't remember what it's called, like Hammer of Thunder or something like that. Before that's patched. Later in an experimental patch, there is something about if you hit the goats once, they die. Because currently what Norse players are doing is they're hitting them 3 times, and then that leaves the goats 1 HP. But you get favor for whacking goats. But it looks like we're going up through Freya, so that looked like a 320 or 315, whatever the timing is for Norse. I think everything's 15 seconds, isn't it? So yeah, so it was a 315 advance time, up by 415. And he's also getting that copper weapons upgrade too, so he'll be 3 dwarves ahead of his opponent. It's just a crazy build that Thor can do this. I mean, it's just such a good bonus. And then with him not building the 2 ox carts too, it just saves him so much time. So it looks like once he goes up to the next stage, he can finally scout. So that's what he's doing. And look, and he's found the zebras straight away, which is where he'll want to move on to later. And he'll be looking around for some relics with these guys as well. Old Thordmador Assassin. I haven't actually checked out some of the new names. I really need to see them because I loved the old ones. Some really great names. It looks like they both advanced the classical age at the same time. So I didn't really say what the map was. The map is Giza. So Giza is quite an open map. So maybe he's going to want him to be putting the pressure on early. So he's put this Dwarven Mine down, even though he wasn't pressured off or anything. But what Dwarven Mine does is it actually mines quicker. So he values the early gold rather than just having the gold safe income here or having the safe income for your Dwarven Mine later, which is pretty crazy. It's basically like using a prosperity for ISIS, but instead you're obviously using your Dwarven Mine. The only downside to this is if he is going for some kind of faster heroic age, you would have got more resources in the heroic age. But that isn't to say that he can't use it again later. It costs 60 favor to reuse, and if you're in some kind of long game, then you can you can use it there. Because the more Thor fights, the more favor he gets. So I was just seeing what this Valkyrie was doing. I don't think it got a kill, but the Valkyrie is such a strong myth unit. It does so much damage. I think it 4 hits a villager. It might 5 hit a villager. But if you're playing Thor, Odin, or Frey, and you want to put on early pressure, then a Valkyrie is definitely the one. It easily beats the Sphinx in a 1v1. You can tell by the health and the armor. And you can't see the attack stat of that, unfortunately. It's talking about the special, but he could just turn around. Even with low HP, I think he would still win that. But it looks like he might... Is he going for a town center? This is a wild play. Wow. You don't... For anyone new to Age of Mythology, Norse were never really known for their early second town centers, but it seems that in Retold, that is happening more and more, and it's really interesting to see. So they brought out a new god called Frey. So he is the Norse, a very defensive Norse god, which they made a big point of because all the Norse gods are quite aggressive. But it seems like all the Norse gods are playing pretty defensive now, which is pretty crazy. I don't think this will have scouted what's happening here. Now, he's been in the base of Chemo, the ISIS player, but not really seen what he's doing. He's seen that this town center isn't up, so I guess he's going to be checking this side to see if he got a town center. But most of the time, the ISIS player is probably going to want to do some kind of fast heroic. We can see what he's got here. So he's got Sacred Cats, and Sacred Cats cost a bit of gold. So if you're going for a super early second town center, you probably wouldn't get that. But I mean, he could have just got it after he dropped the town center down. So really nice raids with these raiding cavalry. You can just get a handful of those with the Valkyrie out and put so much pressure on. Even if you don't get the kills, even though he is getting a couple of kills here, it's just really good to put your opponent on the back foot. Is he building any more units? It looks like he's just building more raiders, some throwing axemen for maybe building some more buildings, bit of defense. Now it's interesting. We haven't really seen what the ISIS player is up to. Maybe he did get that other town center. If he was going for a fast heroic off of one town center, he'd probably be up now. So maybe you'd have to assume that he's on a second town center or going for some kind of delayed heroic age for some reason. But he must be on a second town center. The Berserk's going to go have a look for that, and that is where I would guess the second town center is as well. So why not? Valkyrie, not only good at raiding, can heal these guys back up, and he's seen the second town center. He would have assumed. I would have assumed as well. So why not? So now he's kind of got a choice where he can just carry. I mean, he can just carry on raiding, or he can go for some kind of mass units in the classical age to take down this town center. But more than likely, heroic age will be coming in after the 2 town centers, and he normally hits that around like 8:30 to 9:30, just because it's a little bit more delayed because of the nerf of the heroic age. But we would expect something like that to be coming through from the ISIS player. So trying to look for where the ISIS player might be getting a second gold mine, which is probably going to be here, might be here, but very unlikely. But that's obviously why his units are there. But that is the weakness of any fast heroic, is you'll be out of gold by roughly 10 minutes. So if you haven't built any units yet, which the ISIS player wouldn't have, because ISIS doesn't really like going for barracks, she'll either only have myth units out or only have myth units and priests out. And what relic has he found here? A group of monkeys will be spawned at your temple. Not the best one, and he is absolutely going for this gold mine here. And unfortunately, it was a little bit late on it, but trying to get some harassment off with these raiders. And nice play for the hearses to be in position, because the Scorpion Men is always going to come in. Obviously, it's a free unit, but he normally wants to build at least one more of these. The Scorpion Men are very, very useful, and obviously, as we said, it also takes some time to get this Mythical Stronghold up. Interesting, he's going for chariots. I would assume that camels were probably the play to sort out the raiders that are on you. And also, camels are just really good to start with. I just feel like they do so much damage. And you want chariots as more of like a mass, and then they start to get better. You just get a couple of units out. Yeah, I shouldn't be focusing on the ISIS, but ISIS is a god I know a lot about. But I want to learn Thor. So this is why we're doing this. So it looks like lots of raiders. Do we have any more armory upgrades? No, he only went for the baseline. So interesting, because obviously these give you more dwarfs. So it's interesting for him not to get those. I assume because he wants to go for some kind of heroic age soon. He's getting the El Matador is getting the food and the gold for it. He'll obviously have his Dwarven armory down already. Ancestors Eclipse in the base, but it's only on 11 villagers, and he probably won't lose many. Maybe he'll lose a couple. He might not even lose one. Wow, nice defense there. And he's spread his units out really well. Units in defense here, Valkyries and Hersa, good against the minions that are coming through. Most myth units have a special bonus damage versus other myth units, so Valkyrie is actually a really nice defense. And this is the full push from the Isis player, so if he can defend this, he'll be in a great spot, especially going for the heroic age through Skadi, getting medium infantry, which is nice. Those naked throwing axemen without any upgrades aren't the strongest, so as soon as they get medium, they start to feel much better. These minions chilling, hanging out. Not bad here for the Valkyries, just to get these guys back up to speed, up to health, sorry. And I always love building a second Valkyrie when I play Thor, because you can heal up the other Valkyrie and it just feels nice. He can even get the upgrade if he wants to go into more Valkyries, but if he's going to the next stage, maybe he wants Frost Giants. Frost Giants are going to be good if the enemy's going for Siege, because you can freeze the Siege, or if they're going for Elephants. Just anything that has a lot of big value, even the Myth units, that's something that's nice to freeze with the Frost Giants. But it doesn't look like he's got too much favor. I mean, he's obviously spent it on one Valkyrie, and there hasn't been too much fighting yet. But he's got a nice gold mine here. Ooh, it's a really open map. I say I wouldn't mind seeing a wall here, but actually does it even do that much, because you'd have to wall off this side as well. But he has a quick retreat path here. Even putting a wall this side and then he can retreat through the wall wouldn't be too bad. It's walls I've started to try and start using a little bit more. Let's see some of the upgrades come in. So we're getting Huntress Axe. So this sets your track rating to 99, which is, it just feels really weird. Let's see if I can see it down here. So it sets your track rating to 99. So it's basically like ballistics, but it's not. Ballistics can predict where you're running to, but this, basically your throwing axemen should never miss, is my understanding of this tech. And it gives them one range. So maybe it's just better for the range, because if you get ballistics, then you don't need this. But then do you need ballistics instead of Huntress Axe when you're playing Norse? There's not many ranged units apart from the Skadi, which he doesn't seem to be getting. And Thor will like to get the Hammer of Thunder. I was close. I think I might have called it Hammer of Thunder. Bit of a forest fire here. Nice forest fire to open up, potentially attacking this later. Just going to have a look around. Heavy raiders coming in. Heavy raiders so strong, especially against those chariot archers. And we're just going to get all of the guys together now. Freeze onto the gold villagers means he can't get any more gold. And he can take down this Migdal stronghold. Absolutely love that play. Something he could have done is just frozen the army, but then I guess with double Migdal stronghold, the guys could have just jumped in here. No, much better play. So that is basically like you've idled them for this long. 20 of them. So many of them. The Isis player goes up to the next stage, gets Meteor. He's going to get Meteor dropped on probably his forward base. And that he'll have to run back and defend that soon. But this frost lasts for so long, and he'll be able to take down both Migdals. Throwing Axeman will be able to take down this Phoenix. Needs to target down the Phoenix. It's the only thing that he has that can actually do the damage. Nice spread formation too. Spread formation is good against anything that does AoE like the Phoenix. And this is just such a commanding position. As soon as this 3 seconds are up, is he going to be able to take this? Ah, it's going to be so close. But the units will slowly come out and he will be able to take this. Just sacrifice some of his units to do so. But he's taken down double Migdal Stronghold. Just needs to get more units out. That's the Meteor coming down. Just needs to make sure I can get more units out to pressure this. But actually, he seems to be winning the fight anyway. As we said, Frost Giant really good up against enemy myth units. So it's just nice to have him about. He's also getting more Frost Giants, which I like to see. And what a nice play. That was just a sick timing. Using the Frost. Now, not normally Thor players I've seen go through Bragi for the flaming weapons. But I think here the Frost worked even better. The enemy player didn't get gold for the whole 50 seconds, and he had no army because everything was together. Takes down both Migdal strongholds. Just a really nice play, and also a defensive play with his 2-town center play as well. So yeah, nice to see some high level Thor play. I'll see you in the next one.